Stellar XLM family, welcome back to the Crypto ZX channel. Let's waste no more time and take a look at what's happening with XLM's price right now, and of course what we could be expecting going into Thursday morning. Looking across the board, we're seeing a lot of green across the market. Bitcoin is pumping and obviously retesting some of the levels we haven't seen since February of this year. A lot of excitement coming into the crypto markets. FOMC meeting is behind us. Speaking about the FOMC meeting, obviously we did not end up seeing any rate cuts happening from Jerome Powell. But it is what it is. Market did react to the FOMC meeting, the importance of that. Earlier this week, you did see the market kind of, starting off on a little bit of a negative note. But, today pretty much, Bitcoin has, broken out and things are starting to heat up once again. As far as XLM is concerned, it's up 3.2% right now, with the price currently sitting at 26.8 cents. Also up about 0.7% in Bitcoin. Comparative market cap at 8.3 billion and the 24-hour trading volume at about $128.4 million. Going back to what I've been saying, pretty much might sound like a broken record at this point for you guys, but in terms of retail interest for altcoins, it's not at the level it was late last year or at the beginning of the year. It's simple as that. If you think this is a time to have altcoins just absolutely sending, that's nowhere near what the case is, because index is literally up almost 11 to 12% higher compared to where it was around the time of altcoin explosion that we did see. But right now, gradual increase with Bitcoin momentum. Remember, even if dominance tends to increase and Bitcoin is showing strength, you will see altcoins still reacting in a positive way because the altcoin and Bitcoin positive correlation. So that's exactly what we're seeing happening right now. Of course, we're going to see some outliers, but overall, you do tend to see that happening, and that's exactly what we're looking at as of now. But before we get into any further, as always, just a quick disclaimer: anything on this channel is not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence and research when you are investing in crypto. So this right here, the drawings right here, just ignore that. I'll kind of, give you guys a little bit of a summary as to what's really going on here. This is from my previous update. So pretty much, the dominance index went up to 65.5%, for the first time in 4 years. Again, that is quite something that, we need to, realize. But anyhow, we have seen, as Bitcoin broke above $99,000 just a few hours ago, we did see the dominance pulling down. Of course, in the grand scheme of things, dominance is not low. 65% dominance is not small. So, Bitcoin still has a lot of momentum on its end. But BTC is breaking out right now. We nailed it. You can literally pause the video here, go watch my Casbah HBAR XRP or even XLM update. As far as Bitcoin was concerned, I was talking exactly about this $99,000 level to be watching out for. And look where we got retested and saw a rejection right at that $99,000 level. And I'm not surprised, but obviously if we're able to break out of this key resistance, I personally think, Bitcoin could see a six-figure price point, which will be mega bullish. Maybe, we do see a new all-time high before an altcoin season. Could that really be in play? Yeah, the potential of that happening is really high right now based off of where Bitcoin is currently sitting. And again, if you want to kind of get some visuals or, look at some numbers, that itself is just a move of about 9.9%, guys. So that tells you everything you need to know. But let's take a look at what's happening with XLM. I'm not going to bore you guys, so we're just going to focus on the hourly perspective. If you're looking at XLM here, don't expect any explosions like something that we saw, like I said, Q4 of last year or early Q1 of this year. Because like I said, dominance index is really high, but it is pretty much consolidating, I would say, pretty much since March. Like even if you look at it from March 1st, you are pretty much seeing the price ranging, within this level. Obviously, we dropped below it at the beginning of April, but things really did start heating up quite fast. So over the last, I would say, few hours, obviously we did wick down to 25 cents. If that was your dollar cost average, you did see an increase of about 6.3%. So in a grand scheme of things, obviously, like I said, nothing too crazy, but I'm sure you guys will take a 6% gain, especially if you dollar cost average below. You can really see, the significance of resistance coming in our way. So again, it's not just going to be like a breeze breaking out of these key levels. You really want to see the 24-hour trading volume picking up So obviously that is something that you really want to see happening, which of course is not the case right now. And the price action does show that. And of course, a lot of people are going to be scratching their head right now. So why is the price of XLM up over the last week and a half or 2 weeks? It's because of Bitcoin solely. That's how important Bitcoin really is. So far so good. Of course, long ways to go to retest some of these, key levels. But as of now, it is holding above this key support line at 24 cents, which is nice to see. We're going to take it one step at a time. If you have not subscribed, guys, what are you waiting for? Hit that red subscribe button. We'll see you later in Crypto ZX, and peace out.